Hello and welcome to a brief review slash rant on the new Mean Girls remake. I did not plan to cover this on the channel whatsoever, but I saw it was on Paramount Plus and I was bored one night, so I was like, you know what, let's just throw this thing on. Let's give it a fair shot because I'll be honest, I saw the trailer for this Mean Girls remake and I instantly expected the worst. And I should have listened to my gut instinct because this thing irritated me to no end. The original Mean Girls is one of my favorite teen comedies ever made. I still rewatch it with friends from time to time. It's super quotable. I mean, you don't even have to be a girl to understand the vast amount of commentary on high school stereotypes and cliques that exist in that film. It portrays everything so well, and it's extremely funny. Unlike this version, I guess you could say this technically breaks the mold of being a remake because it's an adaptation of the Broadway version of Mean Girls, which I have not seen live and I probably won't. And I guess the tagline and marketing for this was centered around the fact that, hey, if you can't go see the Broadway show live, come watch our movie instead. We'll give you everything that gives you except the experience of actually watching theater instead of watching a film version of that. So let's touch on the musical aspects of this first because a majority of the changes that are made in terms of the story and the dialogue exist within the music. There are songs interjected just about every 10 minutes. Some of the music is actually pretty solid. That's probably the best thing I can say about this new Mean Girls is that some of the songs were catchy. I might pull one up and listen to it again. The choreography is boring as fuck for about 90% of them. That's very much true. There was one song that actually did have some color and interesting visual things going on, but it went on for about 10 minutes to the point that it felt like I was being bludgeoned in the head with these visuals, so I became tired of even that song. So on the musical side of things, it's a bit of a mixed bag. I mean, some of the songs are good, but the visuals I was not drawn into. I did not think the choreography was creative. The camera work was not that inventive whatsoever. In terms of story and the screenplay itself, which was written by Tina Fey, as I think the original was, it's verbatim pretty much the same as the original with a few changes. And this is a problem that a lot of remakes run into, especially if it's something that only came out 20 years ago. How much do we change? Because if you change too much, then fans of the original will get angry. And if you copy it verbatim, then fans will also get annoyed because what's the point of remaking it if you're not going to change or update anything? And one thing that really pissed me off about this is that it doesn't bother to really try to modernize its commentary on high school dynamics, aside from a few social media type things that they do. I don't know, I was kind of hoping for them to at least include more modern slang to liven it a little bit instead of it just feeling like an outdated copy and paste version of the original screenplay. It doesn't help that a lot of the performances are dull as hell, man. For one thing, it's bizarre seeing some of the characters being played by the same actors, most notably the principal, I don't know the actor's name, and then Tina Fey once again plays Mrs. Norbury, I think is her name. And then everyone else is new faces. It's a bizarre, uncanny feeling watching this. And no offense to any of the younger actors who play the students, but I don't know, a vast majority of them felt like dollar store versions of the original characters to me. It was as if the studio had all of these people sit down, watch the original movie, write down a few notes, and then just speak all of those lines of dialogue in the most monotone way they can possibly do it. To give some credit, I think Renee Rapp does a pretty solid Rachel McAdams impression, but everybody else brought no personality to their characters. I don't want to single anybody out, but I'm going to do it anyways. The guy who plays Aaron Samuels, he delivers pretty much the exact same lines that the character does in the original, but in the most monotone way possible. I know I'm being repetitive in and of myself by saying these things over and over again, but these criticisms apply to almost every single aspect of this film. Also, in terms of things that they did change in the dialogue in the screenplay, they obviously watered down a lot of the jokes to avoid the offensive stereotypes that the original has. And it just makes the film feel like it's even more lacking in personality. It has no bite. And without that clever bite that the original had, and nothing really to be gained by adding songs to it, it feels utterly pointless, man. I have no idea why this was made. There's no other way to describe it. It feels plastic. This is the plastic version of the Mean Girls film. I know this has been out for a good while, but I just had to talk about it after sitting through it and being so frustrated by its lack of cleverness and creativity. So in terms of recommending the new Mean Girls, I guess if you want to see a version of the original that's longer and in every single way inferior to the original, be my guest. I'll give it some brownie points for having a couple of decent songs, I guess, and clearly some of the actors were actually trying, but This feels like such a fruitless endeavor, so I'm gonna give Mean Girls 2024 1.5 stars out of 5. It's about as bad as I thought it would be, if not worse. Like I said, it has been a while since this came out, so if you did click on this video, thank you so much for checking this one out. As always, be sure to let me know in the comments what you think of this and how it compares to the original, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. See you later.